the Wine School. I'm Mike. I got special guests today. I got Justin and Michelle. What's up, guys?
Not much.
And we are at Burntshirt Winery in Hendersonville,
North Carolina.
Hendersonville, North Carolina. And so, really excited to be here. The property is beautiful. Justin's the winemaker, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about what you guys do here. And so, Justin, driving in, this property is like at the top of this mountain ridge, and these long vineyards that run down. What's it like growing grapes here? Trying to make wine out of it. What's unique about this site?
What's really unique about Burntshirt Vineyards is first and foremost our elevation. I like to refer to this part of North Carolina as kind of the highlands. And so that not only buys us a little bit of temperature difference, but the soil is really nice here.
Is there an AVA?
Not an AVA yet. The conversation is on the table, though.
Okay.
Yeah, we're really hopeful for something like that. Again, going back to that soil profile, that's really something that's got to be delineated before we can put a name on it.
Right. But that's one of the thoughts is eventually there's enough unique characteristics here that it would be an AVA.
Yes, we've got a few producers just south of us. The Biltmore is just north of us. And there's definitely a very big conversation as to what exactly is unique about the higher elevations of western North Carolina for growing grapes.
And Burntshirt has an interesting story behind the name.
Absolutely.
I was reading, what's that all about?
So the name Burntshirt comes from the mountain. There's a mountain about 17 miles east of here, and Burntshirt is where our mountain vineyard is planted. Lore has it that back in the day, the farmers would clear their field at the end of the season and light a fire to kind of break everything down to go into the good coming year, and they throw in the shirt off their back as a matter of good luck for the next harvest.
Then do you guys do this?
I have not done it yet, but I'm considering it.
That'd be an awesome sort of annual tradition. Let's go out and have the annual burning of the shirt.
We would.
I don't think you want to burn the vines though.
No burning of the vines, but happy enough. We got enough pallets out back. We can start a pallet fire and throw some shirts.
You know what? If I thought I should have brought some Rock and Roll Wine School shirts for you guys, and you could burn those. That'll make the harvest magnificent.
Christening.
Yeah. Awesome. So you do whites and reds.
Correct. We have we have dry whites, dry reds, off-dry whites, off-dry reds, and one classic style of dessert wine that we produce here.
Like a port?
You could stylistically put it in that category. Yeah, it's a high alcohol, late harvest style of wine that we, this past year, for example, we picked it on November 20th. So coming in really high sugars, really concentrated right flavors, and so that's what we use for our dessert wine. The varietal on it is Petit Manseng. It's something that comes out of southwest France.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a super fun varietal.
You guys do a bunch of really interesting varietals here. I'm kind of shocked at the choices that were made. Like the Gruner, for example, is a really interesting choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Gruner Veltliner, native to Austria or traditionally produced in Austria. For us, if you go out there and look at it right at the end of the season, it has a really open cluster. So, for our climate with higher humidities, it works very well. Definitely pulls through some of the minerality that we can get out of our soil here.
Yeah.
And produces a really nice, crisp style of white wine.
So, who made that choice? Who decided? This looks like a great spot for some Gruner. That's an odd.
I think the best analogy is just saying that there was a lot that was thrown at the wall, and whatever stuck, we kind of rinsed and repeat. So the Gruner out of that though was shown to grow really well, and I witnessed that firsthand last year. You look at the characteristics of that cluster, and you understand that it plays well in this climate.
It's interesting. I think Gruner is one of those wines that's always been awesome, but not too many people have drank it or had it because it's from Austria, and they're just figuring it out. In California, they've started planting a bunch of Gruner, especially down by Santa Barbara, Paso Robles.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I like to hear that awareness of the varietal.
But it sounds like you guys are well ahead of the curve, though. I mean, these are some new plantings. I don't even know that they're producing it in some cases.
In fact, we've got 2 more acres on our mountain vineyard coming on this year. And that mountain vineyard's at 3,400 feet above sea level. The fruit up there is spectacular.
So do you get crazy diurnal shifts?
Up there, yes.
Yeah.
It's so much so that as far as our heating units to get ripeness, it's almost 2 weeks later up there than it is down here at 2,100 feet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that temperature swing, the fruit has more acidity. The flavors are more developed, just a really round characteristic from the grapes coming in raw. And it's something that I'm really excited to have the opportunity to work with.
That's awesome. And for those of you who just had no idea what we were just talking about, if you have an area where it gets really hot in the day and really cold at night, which a lot of times you get in sunny areas on mountains, that actually really helps develop a lot of character in the grapes, and that's pretty cool. So we're gonna drink the Gruner.
Yeah, let's try the Gruner here.
Thank you.
First and foremost.
All right.
So
tell us a little bit about this.
This particular wine, for us, really light, crisp, aromatics on it. I'm definitely leaning more towards fresh apple, maybe some stone fruit, and definitely good acidity to it.
I got spice in this too. I get some white pepper, ginger,
A
almost.
little bit of a zesty characteristic.
Yeah,
I kinda like
yeah, a
to
little
think of
bit,
it.
and definitely some minerality on it. Some wet stone, wet rock.
And we find that from some of the Germanic varietals, because we also grow Riesling,
Yeah.
and that wet rock kind of characteristic right before bottling, when the wines are still kind of young,
Yeah.
it shows a little bit more than when we finally get it in the
Is
bottle.
that scary for you as the winemaker? Like, oh
It's
wow.
scary when you start watching them change, face from month to month, and every time you go in and revisit that wine, it's like, okay, I'm
Right.
definitely happy with where it's going. I was a little nervous with where it was. Thoughts?
No, the acid is bright. It's crisp. I get a little more fruit driven on the palate. I think for me, like on the nose, it was a lot of that spice and minerality, but I get more peachy apricots.
Yeah, lots of apple. I think apple for me.
And being in apple
Yeah,
country,
that's
it definitely, from time to time, that conversation comes up.
Well, for those of you who can't see on camera, we're standing on the edge of this huge apple orchard, just on the other side of the grape, the vineyard. So yeah, I guess it's not too much of a stretch to get.
Not too much of a stretch, and I was once told by somebody who I was first studying under that if you can grow an apple tree, you can grow a grapevine. So
Was there apple trees on the vineyard soil before?
Formerly,
So
yeah.
they grubbed them up and planted.
formerly there was an orchard over there, and they used it for some general agriculture. But that was historically what was growing out there, and it's something that I think they both enjoy this climate in this area and grow really well.
Little almond aftertaste or something?
Oh, a little almond.
Some nuttiness to it.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's a great call, actually.
So yeah, we're really excited about this. This is for us our signature white,
That's nice.
and
It's
a
really
unique
clean.
varietal for us.
Yeah, clean, crisp.
Yep.
It's got the finish is long on it for a white wine.
I like the acidity. I think
Yeah.
that's something that you've got to have as a little bit of a backbone. I don't want it to be too thin or flat.
Be good with Asian food, like spicy food.
Thai.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, some Thai food with this would be
Now we just
fantastic.
need to put it in a 1 liter bottle as opposed to a 50.
So, do you guys sell outside of North Carolina at all?
Currently, we do not sell outside of North Carolina. 2015, we're really trying to grow our distribution portfolio.
Yeah.
So we're starting with a few by the glass programs and some retail shops. But the majority of our wine that ends up outside of state is purchased by passers-by, you might say, on 26.
Got
We're
it.
not far from South Carolina. We get a handful of folks who come through from Tennessee. And being in this part of North Carolina, we definitely see a lot of folks from Florida coming up during the summer when it's just desperately hot down there.
Right.
So
I would too.
for a nice cool break, but
I'm just loving the acid on this. It's just ripping.
zippy.
Yeah, it's solid. All right, I hate to put this down, but what's the next thing we're gonna drink?
Next up, so the first of its name, we have produced a Meritage, classified as a Meritage, and using 4 Bordeaux varietals. It is Cab Sauv, Cab Franc, Petit Verdot, and Malbec, and that's in kind of a concentration order. So Spent 2 years in French oak, and that's been our focus. It's only a 9-barrel lot, so at the end of the day, it'll probably come out around 225 cases. We are
so this is not released yet?
Not released. These were fresh out of the tank, so.
Okay. All right. We haven't even bottled these yet.
No, we haven't even bottled these yet. We're looking at a bottling date of July 30th.
So you basically rack them off the barrels and you're letting them settle in the tank or something to get it before fining it?
Correct. So what I'll do is pull out, working towards that bottling date, July 30th, kind of back build my stability. So we'll look at cold stability on it just to make sure that we're not going to have any issues with it.
That makes sense.
And then from there, really just chill the tank down, make sure it's ready to go. And then when I get to about 3 weeks out from bottling, we'll warm the room up and we'll warm the tanks up just a little bit, just let them go ambient, nice and slow, so that when the wine's pumped onto the bottling line, it doesn't have any condensation issues. So,
well, this is a classic Meritage for sure.
So stylistically, we're, again, really focused on some of the nice fruit that comes from the Cab Sauv and Cab Franc. Cab Franc for us offers up almost like a nice rosy floral characteristic.
Now, the girl in the tasting shop was raving about the Cab Franc that you guys produced, by the way. So
Cab Franc is now our latest red that's been 100% produced in this facility that we're going to be releasing in about 3 weeks. So
okay, I've been hearing nonstop about how awesome the Cab Franc is. So some of that's in here.
Some of that's in here, and again, going back to having a happy grape varietal, Cab Franc is definitely ripens up really well for us here. This past year, you could just taste it in the fruit. It had a certain fullness and richness to it that was really exciting. So
you got blackberry and plum, and coffee, and almost some tobacco.
I was going to say leather, but tobacco, coffee.
Leather's a good call too. You get that vanilla sweetness from the oak, French oak.
All French oak, and it's, as far as the combination of barrels that we use, we do have medium to medium plus toast, so we're trying to be somewhat delicate on it. Light, I think, is just not going to give you enough, and heavy just kind of overshadows it. So tannins on it, I think, are soft.
They're a little soft,
yeah. I think for our, if you were to try try just the Petit Verdot, which we used as a blending component in this, super tannic. So if it's playing any big role, I would say that it's going to keep some of that astringency.
So let me ask you this, because I actually, while I got here a little early and was hanging out in the tasting room, doing some research.
Yeah.
And one of the things I noticed is that there's almost like a smoky character to almost all the wines,
definitely
whites and reds, that I've tried so far, and I don't quite know how to describe it other than it's like a smoky ashiness, and is that sort of characteristic of Burntshirt, hence the name?
Yeah, very literally.
Or is that the soil, or?
I would definitely lean towards saying somewhat of a terroir, but also for some of our wines with a little bit of age that's come about more.
Okay.
I know that one thing that I have found in some aged wines that I've tried out of our library is that they definitely pronounce a little bit more of that smokiness.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's cool.
But for this area, and hopefully something unique to us, that's something that we like to spotlight. And again, using barrels that aren't going to necessarily cover it up. So the French oak for us is a little more delicate. We do use a little bit of American oak, and right now our barrel program is about 50-50 split. But one of the things is that right out of the barrel, I notice that the wines have a good bit of oak on them. After I get them in tank and start prepping them for bottling, that oak kind of mellows out, really shows itself right on the back end, and lets you get all kinds of fruit right on the front of it. So definitely looking for this one to lighten up a little on the oak, but.
Well, the fruit's right there too. So I mean, I think it's well integrated. I don't get that sort of jammy oak bomb kind of sensation. It's well integrated, and the smokiness on it, I think, is. And I noticed it in everything I've tried so far. It lends kind of an interesting little extra something, I guess.
Yeah, no, you can definitely.
Yeah,
consider
when
it.
I was tasting the Chardonnay, I was detecting like a bacony flavor. It's like a smoked porky flavor, and it's a light, kind of a light flavored wine. It's like not a heavy wine at all, but there's just like a tone of smoky bacon.
No, that's
Well, there
That's
you
what
go.
I got anyway. Yeah.
Burntshirt Winery.
Yeah.
something to make it unique.
Smoky bacon. well, as always, we're going out with 30 seconds of craziness, so enjoy. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
You can't go out tonight. You're married, so married. You can't win a fight. You're married, so married. You can't choose what you wear. You're married, so married. You're not allowed to stare. You're married, so married. Punking you out while your boys are